I am Janhavi Panwar. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you people are new over here, then welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about some resources through which you can learn any language perfectly. You know, the kind of resources, for example, we have got YouTube, different applications, and the kind of process we have to follow to learn a language in less than a year. Yes, you can learn a language in less than a year in a very fluent manner. So what is the process that we all are going to follow? Let's get started. First of all, you have to start with YouTube or an online application. Or what? An online application. Alright, first of all, I'd also like to tell you people that this video is not sponsored. So if I'm going to say something, that's just going to be my opinion. So what you're going to do from YouTube, for example, you want to learn English. The reason I'm taking English as an example is because I teach English. So when you want to learn English, you're going to go on your YouTube and then you're going to find English for beginners, English basic level English for beginners. So you're going to start with basic and beginners. You're going to start with what? Basic and beginners. And this is not only for English. You can do it with any language you want to learn, whether it be French, Spanish, German, Korean, Japanese, anything you want to learn. So basic and beginner. Basic and what? Beginner. Now, what you're going to look for phrases. You're going to look for what? You're going to look for some phrases, and at the same time, you're also going to look for expressions. Expressions and phrases. Let me tell you why. Whenever you start learning a language, phrases and expression are the most used in that language. And at the same time, you're also going to find out daily life words. What? Daily life words. Now, what are the daily life words? For example, in your native language, what are the kind of words you use on a daily basis? For example, let's start with our morning. So when we wake up in the morning, what are the kind of sentences we use in the morning? We use, I'm getting up, I am getting ready for work. These kind of sentences, correct? So you're going to look for these daily life sentences and daily life words in that new language. Then you're going to look for phrases and expressions. So after you kind of understand all of these, so you can understand all of these words, phrases, and expressions, you can learn them through YouTube, through any good teacher. But one more thing, please do not totally rely on a teacher, please do not rely on a professional teacher and as well as a normal teacher, because language is a tool of communication. It's not some kind of chemistry or metaphysics that a teacher is going to make you understand. You need to make sure if you're comfortable with that kind of communication process or not. So it's on you, it's your responsibility, it's your duty. Next up we have is that start looking for an online application. Now, I usually prefer whenever I start with a language, so like recently I started with Spanish, few months back, so I started with Duolingo. Why? Because first of all of the online applications, and this is no offense to anyone, but whenever you are, doing some exercises on an online application, they just get you engaged. But another thing, just like you can rely on a professional teacher, you also can rely on any language app that you have in your mobile phone or that you can find on the internet. Because again, they do not have like a very much professional thing, but this is just for your practice. So when you go on Duolingo, you can start with your basic level, you can choose your language, and then you can practice for 30 minutes to 1 hour, 30 minutes to an hour. And the best part about this is that it's not very, theoretical. It's very practical. So the thing, whenever we are learning a language, we learn it to hold a communication, so that we can hold a conversation very fluently in that language, just like a native. And that comes from a practical method. So whenever I'm going to suggest you an online application to start learning, I'm going to suggest Duolingo for that. Now, after you have done your phrases, your expressions, your daily life words, and some sentences, the next job you have to do is you have to find a book. Find a book. What kind of book are you going to find? First of all, start with comic books. Start with what? Start with comic books, magazines, and novel. So you're going to start with comic books because they have got like sentences in very brief, and after that you're going to come on to magazines. They have got paragraphs but not very big. Then you're going to go on to novels because obviously they have a story. And whenever you start understanding these two, understanding novels won't be a big deal. Now your question is going to be, but how can we understand these two? First of all, in comic books they use normal words, you know, the kind of words we use in our daily life. And the kind of phrase and expression we use, they use that. They usually use that. And at the same time, whenever you find a new word, a new vocabulary, you're going to go on your Google, you know, the translator one. And if not translator one, if you can't understand the basic phrases and basic words, then not a bilingual one, but from that language and just elaborate it in that language more. So comic books, whenever you find a new word, go on your Google, a bilingual dictionary, search for that, and then make a list. Make what? Make a list of those words. And after that, you go into magazines. If you understand this won't be a big deal. If you understand this too, understanding this won't be a big deal. Next step you have to do is start watching series or dramas or movies in that language. So series. Now, most of the times, what we people do is that whenever we start watching series in a whole different language, we tend to own the subtitles in our language. Don't do that. For example, if you're learning French. So if you're learning French, you're going to switch on the subtitles, correct? You're going to switch on the subtitles to English. But this is a mistake. Don't switch on your subtitles in English. Switch them on in French only. So if you're listening to French, you're also going to read French, and that's going to make your pronunciation way better, because when you learn a language, it's also important that you start pronouncing just like a native speaker. So if you're going to listen and read at the same time, so that's going to improve your pronunciation, because speaking French in English or in your native accent, it won't sound too good. Speaking Japanese in your native accent, it won't sound very well. So it's pretty important that your pronunciation is good. But now the problem is going to be, what if we can't understand a word? Then you have to do the same thing. Go on your Google, make a list of words that you can't understand, and start finding the meaning of those words. After series, this is a tip that I give in almost all of my videos, is that you have to immerse yourselves. I-M-M-E-R-S-E, immerse yourselves in that language. For example, in the morning when we scroll through social media, so make sure you follow all of the pages in that language. You follow people, you know, like native people of that country, of the language you want to learn. You also follow some YouTube pages, and subscribe to some YouTube channels who teach that language, or French news, for example, if you're learning French, so start following French news, French documentaries. So whenever you are on social media, you encounter all of that. And whenever you're traveling, then listen to songs, listen to podcasts. The more you're going to immerse yourself in a language, the more you can learn it way fluently. And the last step's going to be find a friend. Find a friend. Now, this is a problem that many of us encounter, is that from where we can find a friend. Now, let me tell you, you all use social media, correct? So in that social media, we keep texting unknown strangers who we are not familiar with. Why? Just so we can become friends with somebody. So you're going to message a lot of strangers, but make sure that the person isn't a creep. Just make sure, and also make sure that you're not sounding like a creep, just to become casual friends, so that you can talk with that person, you know, for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, like in chunks. Obviously, nobody's going to give you enough time to talk with 30 minutes to them in a day. You have to be polite, is that, you know, you can start with a normal conversation with whatever you have learned before. You can start with all of that, and then you can practice with that person. And in case you can't find that, then there are a lot of applications where you have to pay money and you can talk to tutors online. So there are also a lot of those applications. You can just go on your Google and search for them, because I don't have a good one in mind. So find a friend. These are all of the tips that I have and all of the resources that I can find, because resources, I'm not going to tell you, all right, download this application or do this, go on this website. You have to very much generalize it. And this is how you can learn any language in less than a year. And yes, you can start talking like a native. So make sure you people follow all of these tips, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.